Hello everyone, my name is Zelda. I'm here with Hammer or Hammer Bro. We are going to be commentating this match of Ninban versus Kappa. And yeah, it's going to be an open mode seed, no changes. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, this is game 2 in their potential 3-game series here. Ninban did take the first game yesterday in a situation where Kappa kind of got randoed with the mirror and the ice rod sitting in Soup Bunny Cave. So that was fun. That was fun. If you haven't seen that race, definitely should go watch that one as soon as this one concludes. That being said, Kappa said yesterday that he is planning on coming back strong and hard for this one, and I always root for more rando, so I'm really hoping for a game 3.
And I mean, I'm just rooting for Ninban because he's Canadian and I'm Canadian, so sorry, Kappa. The tracker the layout looks where it should fix itself eventually. Sometimes this happens.
Yep, and here we go. We are starting off. Both the Sanctuary just started off with a free burrito, which they can use to munch on later if needed. We're going to get a map check here. It looks like we had vanilla crystals everywhere except for Desert. Desert was a 5-6. The other two, I think, were just plain crystals. Alright, and for those of you who may not be familiar with it yet, Kappa did not make any changes to the settings, so this is just a regular old open mode, no map compass shuffle, 7-7, no fast scan, and everything is just normal as it may be. As we do get some blue rupees from the bush crab. Mildly useful here, not as much fun as maybe getting bombs or some red rupees, but not something our runners are going to pass up because early money is important. Alright, speaking of big 20s, we've got one sitting right there on the mushroom spot, and Ninban goes ahead and picks up. I expect that Kappa will do the same thing. And, yep, chat pointing out we had powder on the ledge for Ganon, so that'll be kind of a fun thing. Oh man, this could get terrible really fast. And those bombs here being really, really useful for both of our runners. We are going to see them both continue on towards Kakariko, so that's nice. I've seen a lot of divergent routing for V31. It seems like both the runners are doing some fairly regular stuff at this point, which is nice at the very least. Alright, Blind's Hut coming up for our favorite Psyduck over here. And we've got a piece of heart, a red rupee, some bombs, which, again, not bad, and another piece of heart. So, yeah, Blind's Hut so far not terribly useful.
I see that the tracker is finally back.
Yep, got everything working. Took a second to get everything laid out correctly, but we are good to go. Haven't seen much of anything yet, except for the powder on the Lumberjack ledge. So there is that.
Sorry, what was that, Lumberjack?
Powder. So, not sure yet. I'll let you know 2 hours in when we have to go complete it for the ice rod.
There's the hammer.
Alrighty, so that's nice. Early hammer, at least. We have a weapon. Not one that's great, but it does a heck of a lot of damage, so we'll take it. The red boomerang is something, I guess. I much personally prefer the blue one, but it's better than nothing, I suppose.
I mean, technically the red boomerang is now more useful than the blue boomerang slightly. Hey, that's a glove.
Alrighty, and the search for the Moon Pearl begins, because that's all we need for Dark World access.
It'll be on race game. And then our runners will have to make the decision on if they want to just walk back up, or if they just want to save input and do everything normally.
That would be an interesting routing decision to figure out. That's not a bad idea. We could also have it on like South Shore or something, or it could be sitting right there in the in the bar.
And yeah, that's gonna make some interesting round decisions right out the bat. I don't know. I think I usually do go to Dark World immediately, but also that weird sprinty sound is my computer, so don't worry about it. It's normal for it.
Okay, so Ninban at the very least is going to forego heading into the Dark Village of Outcasts just yet. We'll see if Kappa follows his lead or elects to go do that right away. As we get Bombos in the Link's house. That's actually not bad. So I know you guys like talking about terrible things, but Bombos can't actually lead, or sorry, the powder can't lead to boots because you need the boots for the lumberjack ledge. As we do get a Dark World check here, we've got pendants on Turtle Rock and Ice Palace, as well as Swamp, and then the other 5-6 is Pond.
Oh, okay.
So Flipper's technically not required here, actually.
Nope.
That's going to be one of those things that our runners would be very happy to not see for the time being, because as long as you don't see those flippers, there are 2 dungeons you don't have to go anywhere near.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see an item here. Oh, okay. We saw 10 arrows, 10 arrows. 20 rupees, but I don't know what was in the first 2.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait for a menu here to take a look and see if Ninban got anything useful from the Cave of Disappointment.
If it was standard and they were already in Dark World, these would be the fastest boys in the West. Also, I don't think that's even possible. But it is just normal seed.
Yeah, no changes were made, so this is an open mode, randomized swords, no map compass shuffle. We're going to be doing a defeat Ganon, and yeah, nothing special. And we're going to get a really, really early pyramid ledge check. So this is interesting. I've seen items here fairly frequently in V31. We'll see if that continues. Nope, just a piece of art.
I've seen items everywhere very frequently. Sorry, it's a bad joke. I've actually only really had kind of fast seeds lately. I feel like V31's just generally faster. I'm wondering if that's the bow. I felt like bow was always the last item I was looking for. And now there's just 2. So...
I don't know, from what I've commentated of V31, it seems to be a bit slower for right now. But I gather that's also partially because people are kind of figuring out the meta. So it hasn't been too bad. I've also calmed a lot of terrible seeds. So I'm hoping this one's a little nicer for both of our runners.
Is Quick Stop an option in this tournament? No. Quick Stop is basically never an option in outside of entrance seeds. Hey, nothing. So unfortunately that trip for Ninban was a bit bleh.
Yeah, but as Kappa's going to be making the same trip most likely, it won't end up mattering at all. This is going to be a seed that would be greatly improved by an early mirror find. As we do get to see the other 2 items that were in Pipe Cave, just being a full heart and 10 more arrows. So we ended up with 20 rupees, a heart, and 30 arrows. Ugh.
Oh, hook shot. Okay. That makes the mountain a little bit more enticing.
Yeah, hookshot is definitely not bad. with the hookshot and the hammer, it kind of puts potentially breaking up Death Mountain, makes that play a little more friendly. I don't expect our runners to do it yet because there's so much that's in the logic that they can just go ahead and get out of the way. But at some point, Death Mountain's going to come a-calling.
Oh, there's that mirror. Okay, that's actually a really good spot for the mirror.
It is, but it's also kind of out of the way. It's kind of in between two big groups of items. One group, both of our runners have already checked in the Hype Cave. The other group being Town of Outcasts. So I think we might have a situation where Ninban takes a little while to grab them, as we also have a sword. So this portion of Hyrule being friendly. Alright, so do you want to call something like Mitts on the digging game?
That would be really useful in that it would make this left side, like, really good. Like, I've never seen a 3 for 3 here.
I know, I'm kind of looking forward to the potential here. I would take Mitts, I'd take a Fire Rod would be nice. I mean, heck, even a bow would be nice. Flute. Let's just not see those flippers.
I just generally don't see people go this way, so...
Alright, it's making us work for 3 bombs. Oh well, 2 for 3. It's about the best you could hope for.
Ninban grabbing that 50.
And yep, it looks like we're going to get an Agana's Cave check. Alright, so Kappa going to grab his hook shot in just a second here. Meanwhile, Ninban is going to take a look at this cave relatively early, especially given all the open checks that are here. We'll see if this pays off. Just a big 20 there. Unfortunately not paying off, but still it's nice to get that check out of the way. Alrighty, so off to the eastern area now for Ninban. Sticking to doing most of the Sphere Zero checks for the time being, with the exception of Hype Cave and the Hype Cave, the Pyramid, and Catfish. Meanwhile, I think Kappa is going to go ahead and take the bait, head up the mountain. We'll see what's up here. We're going to be able to clear everything in the light world for the mountain. Obviously missing those mitts to be able to do dark world stuff. Alright, very good dark room from Kappa there. And we'll see what the old man gives us as a tip. Thankfully, dead rocks do not stop the old man from entering his cave, or else we'd be standing there for quite a while. And it looks like Ninban is going to break up the mountain as well. Alright, just a heart there on top of the rock, and a peace heart inside. So we're going to be skipping both of those. Well, we'll probably pick up the heart, but only because it's right along the way for us. Alrighty, so at this point we'll be able to clear Hera unless we have a big key in the, that does not look promising. This could be a situation where we could see a Hera pot clip. If that big key is not in the lobby chest here, and if Kappa is familiar with it. For those of you who have not seen it or don't know a whole lot about it, that's fine, because I don't know a whole lot about it either, but suffice to say, in a game that's nearly 30 years old, we're still finding new ways to break it. This is one of those ways. The vanilla intended way to get down this pot is from the very second to top floor there, and you fall all the way down these pipes, and then you can teleport back up to the top, but if you clip yourself into it, you can hookshot into the middle, fall in, and then just go ahead and teleport back up to the top and skip the big key requirement. Now, the main downside is that Kappa will not be able to open that big chest. So, if Moldorm does not drop our second item, we're going to be orphaning it in here for the time being. Alright, meanwhile, Ninban has decided to go take a look at Paradox Cave instead first. We got blue mail out of the two chest portion. We'll see what's up on top. There we go. Moldorm being friendly, so that's our first crystal of the day. Just over 15 minutes. Not bad at all.
Oh, and won't have to get the bit key. Fire rod, though.
Yeah, that fire rod is nice, and it really increases the likelihood of people wanting to head towards that Village of Outcasts area, because that is now 2 dungeons that we can full clear. Well, Ninban's going to need the sword, but Kappa, once he gets the fire rod, will be able to full clear both Skull Woods and Thieves Town. That's a pretty compelling reason to get your butt back into the Dark World. Alright, just a big 20 there, and we are seeing the Spiral Cave of Doom for Kappa. Unfortunately, no boots. This one's going to take a little bit.
People are saying they might full clear. Probably won't, because he'll probably just do a Hera pot, check the chest, and then, then he'll find the 2 pieces of heart and be like, oh, sweet, okay.
Speaking of pieces of heart, that's all we got for our long walk through the park.
But we'll see. They might go in the door. Nope. Not even a little.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and give this a couple shots first. It makes sense. That coffee break is not friendly time-wise. It's at least a minute altogether. Yeah, we're gonna avoid that if we can. And as I said, avoided it. Just very well done. That is not easy to do. Almost forgot that he didn't have the big key, though, and that's mildly amusing. Wouldn't be the first time I've seen that. Alrighty, so Kappa's going to be the first one out of the area. We'll see if he follows the Siren's call over to the Village of Outcasts. It does look like Kappa is at least heading in that direction. Meanwhile, Moldorm giving a little bit more of a what for to Ninban here. Staying on... Okay, there we go. Whew.
And there's a piece of heart, knowing that the basement isn't useful.
Cool. 1 crystal for both of our runners here. Not bad at all. And Kappa is headed towards the village of outcasts, which I don't blame him. Again, 2 dungeons we can clear. Ninban's going to take his long walk for a quarter of a heart and then make his own decision on what to do next. Alright, so this is where routing could get interesting. If Ninban decides to head towards Village of Outcasts next, they are not going to have that sword. And you cannot complete Skull Woods without one. As we know, there is a sword sitting in Cave 45, but Ninban is unlikely to check that before heading up towards the Village of Outcasts area. So hopefully for them, we're going to see another sword in the area that they can grab before going to do Skull Woods. Either that or it's almost definitely going to be a double dip.
Yeah, with the mirror, it's not. Oh, Kappa is forgotten, unfortunately. I thought he was coming here just to check that one chest there in the bottom, but oh no, he has the sword. Never mind, I forgot the sword.
Yeah, Kappa does have the sword.
I am silly.
Honestly, this is a pretty darn good room to use that Bombos medallion, especially if you really want to hold on to some magic at the very least.
Yeah, this gives him significant amount of magic, which can be used coming up. And gonna want to make sure to also use the fire rod on that.
Meanwhile, Ninban has decided to hold off on Skullwood for the time being. Going to check the outlying area here and then probably walk into Thieves since you don't technically need a sword for blind. You'd probably prefer one, but you don't need one, strictly speaking. Hammer strats will do just fine if you're comfortable with them.
That blue mail coming in clutch with Kappa, making basically damage boosting his way into hammer hits.
Yeah, but still going to want to be careful here. Whew.
There we go.
Alrighty, at 22 minutes, we have a second crystal for Kappa. So far, everything's moving along swimmingly. A little scary there for that Mothula fight, but everything was completed. We're good to go. Meanwhile, Ninban is going to be the first to jump into Thieves Town here. Another full clearable dungeon. Alrighty, nothing so far of interest for either of our runners in either of their respective dungeons. We'll see if, hopefully, at least one or the other gives us something good. Hey, red goo! And that is not a bad place to find your first bottle, especially with, well, I guess the mirror that Ninban doesn't have. Oh, I jumped the gun on that one, forgive me.
Well, I mean, the thing is that Ninban, once they're done this, they're going to get their sword and their mirror, and they'll just walk back up with the potion. So they're definitely going to go to Stumpy after this.
Yeah, that's fair, but it's still an extended journey that Kappa will not have to take. Alrighty, this potentially the least fun room without Boot Ninban making through without too much difficulty, as we see another shield on the bumper cave, so nothing useful up there to worry about. Seems like we might... Nope, I was going to say we might get a graveyard ledge check too, but that's a little too far away for Kappa to go ahead and get that done. And these crickets are low-key one of the most terrifying enemies in the game for when you run into them. They do 2 hearts of damage, they take Master Sword or Tempered Sword damage to murder, and yeah, without the hook shot, you're gonna have fun trying to kill them and stay out of their way.
That was weird. Didn't think that would hit him in the door.
Alrighty, so meanwhile, Ninban is headed farther into the bowels of Thieves Town. Did a nice hookshot trick there. When you hookshot a heart, you have a 1 in 4 chance of being able to get double healed. And that definitely worked out, as we see the lamp next to our fair maiden, which is not bad at all. It's nice to get that out of the way, even though neither of our runners really need it at this point. It's a nice thing to have. There's going to be some dark rooms.
And that also puts everything into logic for what they did earlier, so. Can you fall in that Thieves Town pot? No. But you can now if you can flip into it.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if they had a room program that pot goes to.
I mean, it's almost like there was an entire room programmed for fail stated falls, but that's only in the overworld. So I'm pretty sure that you would just crash or go to room 0, which is Ganon's room, as AA is saying. So don't do that in a glitchless race, or yeah, that would be funny though. See now, somebody go boot up the practice room.
Ninban taking a couple shots there, but managing to take out blind with just the hammer, which is a very not easy thing to do. Between the moving blind, all the projectiles running around, the hammer's hitbox, and the hammer's delay in actually hitting something, it's not a fun fight. So very well done there from Ninban, grabbing their second crystal. Still missing a sword for Skullwood, so we're going to be leaving Skullwoods behind for the time being. Going to grab a sword and a mirror up here in just a moment on Ninban's side. But for the time being, we're going to see a boatload of digs for 3 wonderfully fresh blueberries.
Yeah, the unvisited room that we never go to is just a trap room. If you enter it, you gotta kill like 5 mobs. So I'm not really sure what Shupert in chat is talking about. There is no fairy room in Thieves Town.
I think they're saying if you fall down that pot
Yeah.
there, the Kappa just
That-
went through.
That's what I'm saying. Like there is no fairy room. I'm gonna go ahead and trust AA on this. That it's a null. It goes to 0 and drops you into Ganon, because Ganon's room is room 0. But it would be pretty easy to test out. You just need to bomb yourself into it in the practice ROM. When you fall, you preserve your position in the room. I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Thanks, AA.
Alrighty, meanwhile, we get our Ether Medallion from Sick Kid, which is not bad at all. It's nice to have another medallion there. And Kappa is going for the slightly easier fight of Master Sword Blind, which pulls off without too much of a hitch there. Blind did make it to the bottom of the room, but Kappa only took a heart of damage. Still went by pretty quickly. Not bad at all things considered. Ninban is going to be headed back to Skull Woods, which is going to be a little bit of extra time lost there between the walk back and forth, but is going to be able to go ahead and get that third crystal out of the way. Alrighty, so at this point, we are starting to run a little low on potential places to check. We do still have Escape. We have Eastern proper, which our runners aren't going to want to run into without the bow. Likewise, we have Pod, which our runners aren't going to want to run into at all because it's a pendant. Even much more so because, well, again, we don't have the bow for it. But it is still out there. We are going to get a long walk to the Ice Rod Cave. I wouldn't be surprised to see, yep, a fake flipper.
They just don't want to do Ice Rod Cave, it seems.
I mean, does anyone really want to do Ice Rod Cave? Alright, so these checks are going to be out of logic over here for Kappa, but it's going to converge into a check of Zora. And that check will be in logic. The method that Kappa's using, obviously not in logic, but we do have the glove. We can get to Zora even without flippers. Yeah, so for those of you in chat who have just joined us or aren't fully familiar with what's going on in the tournament, this is the round of 32, actually. We still do have a couple of round of 64 matches to get completed as AGGQ kind of put a spanner in the works there for the tournament races going on. But this is a round of 32. This is the second race in the potential set of 3, Ninban being up 1-0. So we will see how this one ends, and potentially we will have a game 3. I do not know if that game 3 is scheduled right now off the top of my head. Alrighty, so there's a bow. 2 things to keep in mind. Firstly, there are 2 bows running around V31, so that is not necessarily the bow that we would logically supposed to pick up first. And the second thing to keep in mind is that bow is out of logic, so hiding behind the flippers somewhere.
Now, if that is supposed to be our first bow, then it does continue to make the flippers not required, but it does open up the possibility we'll see the bow or the flippers a little earlier, and something could be in Swamp. That does, though, open up 2 more dungeons for completion. And that's the Master Sword, so that was a really good Zora trip.
Yeah, 2 more dungeons are open for completion, but I feel like our runners aren't going to really want to complete Pod unless they absolutely have to. We are running low on potential here, though. We can't even get into Swamp, or do anything in Swamp, I should say, without the flippers. And then can't get into Desert, can't get into Ice, Mire, or Turtle Rock. So Pod Eastern might be the next play, whether we want it to be or not. Meanwhile, Mothula once again goes down, and Ninban grabs their third Crystal of the Seed in under 35 minutes. So far, although our items haven't been overly stacked, we've been able to get a lot of dungeons out of the way pretty quickly.
I do find it funny that somebody in chat was like, strange monsters given swords is not a thing of heroism, even though the Lady in the Lake is an extremely common story. Go read your Arthurian legends, kids.
Well, yeah, but just because it's a story doesn't necessarily mean it's a model story.
If a fish lady gives you a sword from a lake, do you say no?
Personally, probably yeah, but I'm not much of your hero type. Speaking of, Psyduck gets to go into full gold duck mode here. We do have red mail. And a fairy in a bottle. Alright, well that would have been two items that are useful for safety early on, but neither of them, strictly speaking, required for anything. Alright, so I feel like we're getting to that point in the seed that we can start talking about what we need for potential go mode here. We're definitely going to need the Ice Rod. We might need Quake for Mire or Turtle Rock. That one's a maybe. We also might need Boots for Desert.
Okay, well that was Titans.
So that knocks out a big requirement. We're still going to need Canis Samaria, though. Honestly, those mitts just kind of make everything a little more scary. Because without the mitts, there was a whole bunch of stuff you just didn't really have a choice in. And now with those mitts, we have a couple of places we can go that we don't really want to, since we can't complete it. Excuse me.
I mean, the mitts, really, the only thing that they give us is ice pellets, which, I mean, that's if we have to do it, but it also gives us a bunch of overworld checks. So, I mean, it doesn't really give us anything we can't complete. We don't have Samaria and we don't have Fleet. It gives us Hookshot Cave as well. We definitely do still need the boots. So, I think that they'll... Like, this pod, definitely a good idea. Ninban, unfortunately, I don't know if this is going to work out for them. This castle check after seeing everything that's over here in pod. This seed is actually great, though. There's been so many choices throughout.
Yeah, this seed's been friendlier than a lot I've seen so far in V31. We'll see if it continues that way, or if this still devolves into the hunt for a singular item. Cough, cough, boots for powder for Ice Rod, or something similarly evil. Hey, there's our boots.
Oh.
So now we can officially start to worry about that powder sitting on Lumberjack Ledge.
No, that's just for the ice rod.
Alright, so Kappa deciding to forego the clears so far. Ninban is going to be following them in, going to grab their boots and mitts shortly, and then we'll be able to see on Kappa's side what we're going to find in Eastern.
Fortunately, Helma having an item does mean that leaves a lot of questions for us.
Speaking of questions, how about an item that doesn't actually mean anything but go to a place and use it? Yeah, our tracker reg pointing out that nothing in pod that was actually useful was bow locked, so the logic could expect you to get those boots and that mitt out of pod without having the bow. So we didn't cheat any of those items, so to speak.
Nope.
Eastern, meanwhile, being ornery with the vanilla big key location, because why not? Let's make this dungeon as long as we can. I think we're going to see a use of that red goo on Ninban's side. We're going to see the potion glitch, which is something we've seen quite a bit less of in B31, being that there are 2 bows to find instead of just 1. Basically, how this works is, well, first you have to remember that you don't have the bow. Oh, actually, oh, never mind. Okay, I thought for a moment we might see a mimic clip instead. But this glitch is actually really easy. All you have to do is walk left, use the potion, and make sure that you do not fix the camera off on the left-hand side, and then we get to see our lovely Super Nintendo not having object permanence. That being, if the mimics aren't on screen, they don't exist. And if the mimics don't exist, then the door opens. Congratulations, good sir.
While this is going to push Ninban further away from getting their bow, they're getting all the important items out so far, so they should be fine.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. It's also fair to say there is another bow around here somewhere. So although this means that they will not be able to clear Eastern, should they choose to walk into it, which they probably will because they're right here, there could still be another bow around here somewhere that isn't the one that the Kappa grabbed behind the flippers.
And come back after EP sucks, yes, but it's not the worst thing of all time. Did either check Light World Swamp? Yes, like 40 minutes ago.
I mean, that is a fair question, though. We had a bit of odd routing because of the super early Dark World access that both of runners got, so not a terrible question to be asking. I do believe between both of our runners, we did manage to check all of the Sphere Zero locations, though. I'm not actually sure where Ninban is going right now. Ah, Smith chain. That's what we're gonna see. Meanwhile, Kappa does get that fairy in a bottle and a red mail to go with it. Nice rod. Ninban getting the very, very satisfying hammer peg dashes just for 3 blueberries, so we're going to leave those right where they are. Meanwhile, we'll see what kind of scheme our blacksmith buddies are running. Usually it's counterfeiting, but might be something else this go around. There we go, an explosive shot. Alright, so Kappa continuing on through escape here, making the same plays Ninban did. I'm not going to be getting really anything for it. Ninban is going to go ahead and get... Looks like we might actually have a lumberjack check here from Ninban. Oh no, that's not. Never mind. I think they already did it, but we did get a bumper cave check there, just a shield. Probably going to get a graveyard ledge check and the other boots locations. Get those out of the way in one fell swoop.
So I'll be careful with all the mirroring that's going to happen here. Don't want to accidentally lose the chest. That's actually going to be a little risky on Ninban's side.
Yeah, maybe not too close for comfort for Ninban. Oh, just was able to pick that sucker up. You could see the Psyduck running around the chest trying to grab it like, Psy?
And my favorite thing about Psyduck is the crowd control. Now, like after seeing what happens when you get killed and then fairy revived in crowd control and then get hit, Psyduck just sits there very sad.
Psy. Meanwhile, Kappa's making the same checks just from the other end. So we're going to get a bit of a high five there.
And unfortunately, nothing in these checks. I made sure to pick up that chest before saving quitting.
Yeah, after all that maneuvering, it would not be fun to leave that chest behind. Alright, so now we'll get our turn in here and see if this comes up with anything useful at all. So far, it has been completely and totally dead. Alrighty, so, Dark Death Mountain, anyone? Either that or Ninban might finally break down and do some fake flipper checks. Alright, Kappa grabs their ice rods. That's one more item off the list that we can check off there. Still needing a couple more things, in addition with a potential quake. I'll tell you what, though, this water walk into the waterfall ferry is going to turn into a dash of salt once Ninban grabs their bow. Yay, Master Sword! Alrighty, so at this point, both of our runners are on basically equal footing. Both of them do have a couple more checks than the other, as Kappa is going to finish up some checks here while Ninban goes ahead and takes out Armos. Actually, I think, yeah, Kappa's going to go ahead and turn in that shovel, and we'll see if there's anything here. Oh, you can't leave that. That's the best boomerang. Come on, man. He just left it. Left it sitting there. The superior boomerang. Unloved. Oh yeah, so for those of you who haven't seen this lovely little glitch, basically what happens here is if the chest is in the dark world and you go ahead and talk to our favorite locksmith, in a relatively quick time, the locksmith doesn't seem to realize that you don't actually have the chest on your person. So as long as you mirror near them and go ahead and talk to them quickly, you can pretty much leave it wherever you want in the dark world. It's kind of a fun new thing we figured out recently. Add it to the Hera pot and the splash deletion.
Sorry, I had something to take care of.
Alrighty, so Ninban running through Eastern now made a little bit easier as they do have the bow. Kappa's going to be doing some Dark World Death Mountain checks. We're going to get to see what at least one of our required medallions is in just a second here. Still need the flute for the other one, unfortunately. Yeah, so for those of you in chat who are talking about our potential item requirements, we are going to need Cane of Samaria, the flute, and maybe quick if Meyer is quick, although that's only a 1 in 3 chance, as Bombos is going to give us what we need here in Turtle Rock. Thankfully, without Canis and Mario, we cannot do anything in Turtle Rocks. There's no decision to be made there. Although, if this is like any other Death Mountain I've seen, we're probably going to get it somewhere up on Hookshot Cave or Super Bunny Cave, for that matter. Alrighty, well, I think I spoke slightly incorrectly there. We did get an item that we needed, but it's for Meyer area instead. Although we could still find that Canis and Mario here. That would be kind of amusing.
I like to see it.
And actually, last game they played just last night, the flute and the ice rod were sitting in Super Bunny Cave, so that is probably a little bit of a flashback for Kappa, who was very late in getting to that flute and ice rod. Although thankfully the check came up quite a bit earlier for him today, so it was probably less of a darn it and more of just a fond eye roll, since he did make the play relatively early this time around. We are going to see a Spike Cave check here, which means the only glaring missing hole that we're going to have on Death Mountain, other than our lovely friend Turtle Rock, is going to be the Ether Medallion.
I believe that this is in logic also. Pretty sure that as long as you've got 6 hearts and a pot, that is in logic. But I don't remember. That's a mushroom.
I believe it's in logic. I'm not fully certain. I don't think either of our runners are too worried about it, and this could get interesting, because that mushroom there, coupled with a cane of Samaria, which we don't currently have, would make very good use of a fake powder. The reason why fake powder is very important in this game is because we have powder sitting on Lumberjack Ledge, and if you don't fake powder, you might end up having to take out Agony, which is a huge time loss.
Which I assume that these runners will hold off. Sorry, which one knows about the powder?
I believe Ninban is the one who knows about the powder, though I might be incorrect, as that check was like 55 minutes ago.
Actually.
And right as I say it, our lovely tracker, Regaro, is correcting me and says that Kappa's the one, and I believe him much more than I believe me, so we'll go with that.
Oh, and Kappa is... I would have saved and quit and done this.
And chat pointing out, if Bat gives us Kane... Yeah, as Kappa did not do a save and did not save Scum, so this could get interesting.
Okay, well, I mean... If it is, that will be... kind of crazy.
Nice flippers. Alright, so those flippers, which we do have access to in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. It's pointless. Thank you, chat. Fate powder's pointless. As it always is. I've never seen fake powder actually do anything. In my, since the glitch was, first introduced, I've literally never seen it.
Really? I've commentated 2 races for V31 that have been won because one person fake powdered and the other one didn't. So it's a thing that happens. Anyways, Kappa gonna go ahead and pick up some flippers here, which is the item that we didn't want to see, to be perfectly fair, but that's okay. It now puts everything that we've done up to this point in logic, so there's that at the very least. And there's our other bow.
Interesting.
I mean, at this point, either of them could have been the first one, as flippers didn't unlock anything overly important progression-wise.
The fire rod? Oh no, the bow itself. Oh, right, no, it was the bot. It was the bow. Yeah, right, the bow didn't unlock anything. That's true.
Yep. So, this is one of those ones where you can pick and choose which bow you'd like to grab first.
Tough call to go green pennant, IP, or dip MM without Samaria? No. Not at all, actually. It's an easy call. You go to Meyer while you're here, because it's go mode.
Honestly, I have seen the Cane of Samaria be in Meyer far too frequently for me to pass it up at this point where I am Kappa's shoes. Now, obviously, I am sitting here talking rather than sitting where they are sitting racing for a very good reason, so keep that in mind with pretty much any decisions that I make or things that I say. But I would go for Meyer over Ice Palace personally.
Oh.
Ninban is going to go ahead and get a fake powder out of the way. Ninban having a Psyduck moment. Sigh.
Oh.
Alrighty, and with land mode down, that is 5 crystals out of the way for Kappa, just missing the vanilla last 2. So, Meyer and Turtle Rock. With that being said, Meyer is Bombo, so we are officially sitting a Cane of Samaria away from being able to run through the rest of this seed as quickly as we care. Ninban did a quick 180. Kappa with the 62.5-minute Agana check for 20 rupees if memory serves. Alrighty, it looks like Kappa is going to go ahead and take a swipe at Swamp. Not a bad play. There are a whole bunch of items here. I don't know that I would make that play, especially since it's only one item away from being able to hit go mode here. But if the cane is here, it's a good call. So we'll see if it works out. Yeah, and chat pointing out that with Cane of Samaria being our last item required, fake powder is something we do not have to worry about. You are absolutely correct.
Oh, just enough magic. Not bad, not bad.
Thankfully, you don't need any extra to get those torches lit. And 3 silvers later, Landmo is toasted. Alrighty, so I'm fairly certain the main item that our runners do not want to see at this point is the book. That's just going to be basically a glorified fetch quest that we would rather leave behind, as Ninban is making the mire play. So this could be interesting. Hey, that is Tempered Sword. That is a really nice find, actually. Silvers make it a slightly less nice find, but still, Tempered Sword saves quite a bit of time over Master Sword.
Okay. See if Ninban decides to abandon or not.
I imagine Ninban will stick around until we get 2 items and a big key. Kappa, meanwhile, has skipped left side at least for now. So it'll be interesting to see if they choose to hop back in and do that, depending on what Argus drops here for us. Alrighty, Vanilla Compass. And Argus takes some AG to the eyeball and is done. So there is a pendant for us. Honestly, the boots are preventing this seed from being terrible, because even though we are running all over Hyrule for the potential of maybe finding a Cane of Samaria somewhere, we swear it's somewhere, at least we get to run fast. Well, there's a heart. I don't know if that's our second item. I'm assuming not, since Kappa's still looking. So I think our second item is going to be in the vanilla, either in the vanilla big key chest or behind Vitreous itself.
Honest. Gonna go the whole way. Yes, Ninban is a side duck.
Alrighty, so we have a 17-second cutscene here. Yes, it is actually that long.
I want them to change the side duck right now, though. Give it the weird scale that apparently justifies it being a completely different form in Gen 8. Well, let's put 3 scales on its nose and 3 scales on its tail. Duh.
Alrighty, so that is the Meyer search done with. Unfortunately, no cane, so we're going to get a checkerboard cave check here real quick from Ninban, and then we'll see where they decide to go next. This is the point where metagaming becomes a thing, because although from Ninban's perspective, the smarter play is probably swamp before ice, Ninban might choose to do ice first because of Kappa doing swamp most likely and maybe feeling behind. But it does look like we're going to get a swamp play here. I would also like to point out for everyone listening and looking for something terrible to happen to both of our runners, Aghanim is still not quite dead. Alright, so Zelnus, let's go through the list. Other than Ice Palace and the Green Pendant turn-in, keeping in mind that the Green Pendant turn-in might be completely and totally useless based upon whether or not Ice Palace is in fact Samaria locked, what do we have to check between both of our runners? Alrighty, so as Ninban heads towards Swamp, Kappa is going to go ahead and get Catfish out of the way. Not going to be anything useful here, but it's one less check off the list, and that is about what this has turned into. Scavenger hunt for the Red Rod.
Any runner would full clear the demon for killing either one for fetch quest time. I mean, yes, but at the same time, there, is times where you gamble. It's usually in those mid races. You just want to be cool and finish the seed in an hour or 10. And for Kappa, there's Ninban's. For Kappa, there is that thing in that he is going to Ice Palace, so probably going to do Pedestal. I'm assuming that they are going to do Pedestal before, or I don't know, honestly.
Well, there's still an item sitting on Helma.
Right, but that's why he'll do that before. He's going to go back to Pod and do that, and if it's not there, then Pedestal.
I understand that. I was trying to compile a list of locations that we hadn't seen yet.
Ah.
Meanwhile, Ninban is flying through Swamp, only on 3.5 hearts. They're going to want to be kind of careful here. Make that Sank heart, so at 12 hearts, going to have to be a little less careful. Alright, so in terms of Ice Palace, we're going to get at least 2 items that are going... well, at least 3 items that are going to be useful here. There is potential that Cold Stare is going to drop a key, which would mean that our green pendant would not be Arcane of Samaria and would not lead to Arcane of Samaria. But if that's the case, then all 3 items in Ice Palace would be valid anyway. So we're definitely going to get 3 items out of this check, maybe 4 if Cold Stare does not drop a small key.
For having, I mean, we're only 1 item away, and that item can't be on Laser Bridge, so decidedly not stacked. Laser Bridge.
Laser Bridge?
Yeah, somebody in chat.
Alright, so Kappa is still wandering through ice, hoping to find some items here. Ninban is making the same play Kappa did, gonna go ahead and full clear swamp, just to make sure we don't leave anything behind. Just a piece of heart there for Kappa, so there's another item out of the way. And there's another one. Alright, so for those of you in chat who have perhaps just joined us, the situation is that we are on a red rod hunt. There's not a whole lot that both of our runners have left behind at this point. Ninban is finishing up Swamp, which Kappa has already done. Kappa is running through Ice. I believe we have seen 2 items on Ice so far. Ice is also the green pendant, so there's the possibility there, so long as Ice is not Samaria locked, which actually I think it is. That being said, we know there's an item on Helmasaur. I don't know Ice Palace key logic very well, but if Cold Stare drops a key, then we're basically looking at Helmasaur being our next option, I believe. If Cold Stare does not drop a key, then we could have Green Pendant and Pedestal both still be options for the Errant Cane of Samaria. Never mind what I said about the key lock. I think we're still good. Oh yeah, I forgot about that little part. There's also magic powder sitting on the lumberjack ledge. So there's potential for that to be useful too. And we can't even fake powder because, well, Cane of Samaria is what we're missing. Alrighty, meanwhile, here comes Cold Stare, and Ninban is hopping in right as Kappa is about to be hopping out, hopefully. I said hopefully, so if something terrible happens here, it's not a full-on commentator's curse, don't blame me. I already did that yesterday, don't want to do it again. Alright, but Cold Stare goes down without too much difficulty. And then there it is! Alrighty then!
Okay, we're not very far apart then.
Holy cow. Alright, 1 hour, 18 minutes, and about 40 seconds. Oh, we are in go mode. And yet, chat pointing out that our mire layout was very, very ideal for quick clearing. So Ninban's not even going to save very much time by already having gone through all of mire outside of Vitreous. So Kappa does have a little bit of a lead here, but there is plenty of execution left.
It is a really difficult lead for Ninban to possibly make up. I mean, this is definitely Kappa's game to lose.
Yes, but at the same point, we do not have any invulnerability items, so if something goes south, we don't have a whole lot to protect us. So
Sorry. I mean, Ice Palace Bomb Jump is never required, so you never have to worry about that. But you better learn how to do the dungeon correctly. In a race, it is required, essentially, even if you have Samaria. So, like, if you're going to get into racing, literally the first trick that you should ever do is Ice Palace Bomb Jump. If you do not know Ice Palace Bomb Jump, you should learn it. If you're going to race. That's just Racing 101. You're going to have a very bad time. The other ones is pretty much every other bomb jump, and then so the smart part of my XP. Yes, I would say you're probably correct. Wouldn't learning logic be the first thing to learn? No, because trackers exist, so you don't actually have to learn the logic. You can just get a track.
Alrighty, so Ninban is going through Ice Palace. Gonna be a couple minutes still before we see that Cane of Samaria. Meanwhile, Kappa is making nice use of that lamp, heading through the basement of Mire, as it was a very friendly big key placement. And there's Spooky Mire. Speaking of another glitch that we found somewhat recently, I think it was about a year and a half ago now, but still relatively recently in the game life of this game in general. And on Kappa side, you're going to see a perfect example of why Vitreous gives you the silver arrows, or gives you access to silver arrows in the vanilla game. Because, yeah, it makes a potentially difficult fight very, very much less so.
There's a tracker that can do the tracking logic for you. Yes, there are trackers that like do the map and everything. In fact, map trackers are very common. Yes.
So those of you in chat who are talking about potential Ice Palace bomb jump woes, not a big deal. It's one that I still can't manage to do most of the time. It's not the end of the world. It just means that you're going to waste a couple minutes every race. So while you're not going to be one of the great racers without it, you can still get by, especially if you're just racing in sort of a casual, having fun setting. Alrighty, Ninban just about 45 seconds away, if Cold Stare goes well, from having his Cane of Samaria and being in go mode. And Kappa is going to, I'm going to put this in quotation marks, going to be able to go mode Turtle Rock. Sometimes that doesn't really end up saving you any time at all, but based upon where the big key and small keys are, you could save a bit of time still. And there we go. Puffballs are down, and the Canis Amaria is out. So, 124-20, Ninban gets his go mode. That's actually a situation where Ninban, or Kappa for that matter, could have mirrored out without picking up the green pendant, as it was evidently useless by the Canis Amaria that dropped before it. So those of you who may not know, yes, you can do that. You won't get the pendant or the crystal, what have you. But if the boss drops the item you need and you don't really want to go through that entire fanfare, then you do not have to. You can mirror right on out.
This is definitely... Sorry.
Alrighty, so the good thing about that big key in Chompy's room is that we are going to get to steal a key and then not have to see the lava chest here. So that'll save us a little bit of time. And for those of you who have pointed out that Kappa is currently in the lead and we still have Ninban's audio playing, we do have some weird audio feedback from Kappa's computer. That is why we were using Ninban's feed instead.
It is unfortunate at this point, you know, it's about half a dungeon apart, maybe more. Oh, Ninban didn't get it?
No, I believe the fire rod shot was a little low there and then decided to not worry about it. Instead, just go ahead and flip the switch. Meanwhile, Ninban makes some silvers and mixes it with some vitreous to get some eyeball gelato. That's going to be 6 crystals for them. Alright, so unfortunately the small key layout was not friendly enough for Kappa to be able to skip Laser Bridge, so we still get some laser skips. Enjoy, everyone. Hey, Butter! Alrighty, gonna want to be careful here. Maybe take a safety door, or maybe not. Oh boy. Pride comes before a fall, Kappa. Don't do it. There's something ultimately ironic about getting a red goo right there. And there is our small key. Thank goodness for that. Gonna go ahead and drop that red goo. Yep. And we
What would
can
have been
breathe a
beautiful
little
is if they
easier.
don't. What would have been interesting is if he had died with that fairy from the laser and fallen in the pit at the same time. That would have been a catastrophically weird glitch. Actually, even just dying in the pit to the laser basically requires a save and quit. Death holes.
Alright, so meanwhile, we are going to get a catastrophically quick murdering of our least favorite turtle as we get some backdoor strats. Butter actually being useful in pretty much only this fight. There's a couple other places that it helps out, but by and large, the jump between tempered and butter not being terribly useful. But yeah, Trinex goes down really quick there. We're going to have our 7th crystal, and then we get to play everyone's favorite game. There are 22 chests in GT that might contain that big key. So go ahead and get your guesses in chat as to which numbered chest you think will contain it. Zelnus, what is your guess today, my friend?
422. See, I can do that too, chat. One, as always.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and guess 14, which in its standard routing would leave us at Bob's chest. So I'm going with the 1-4 today. Alrighty, 1 and 2 done. We're going to go ahead and skip tile room for the time being. Hopefully we will not be back. And we're going to get a clear of the right side first. Piece of heart, 50 rupees, another 20 rupees, and another 20 rupees. Alright, so we are officially 6 chests in, and still no big key. We're going to go ahead and mirror, and then go full left. Alrighty, and into what is known as the Dark Magician's Room, as we get a big key. So, if my count is correct, and it might not be, because math was not my best subject, I believe that 9 is our correct answer. Alright, so GG2 G Drake 777. You're the first person to guess 9, so you get a nice little spot on our leaderboard, and you get to watch the rest of this match. Congratulations on your prizes. Alrighty, so as Ninban is finishing up Turtle Rock here, going to get some laser skips on his end too. Kappa is going to, if all goes to plan, absolutely annihilate what's theoretically supposed to be the hardest rooms in this game, called the Gauntlet, because, well, they're difficult, we promise, even though Kappa will probably not make them look that way. Gonna go ahead and skip that full magical decanter there. Apparently decided he did not need it. And with silvers, they're gonna take out just about everything. They just have a slightly reduced hitbox over the fire rod, which is my preference because I am bad at this game. Alrighty, and just like that, the gauntlet is done, and we can head on to land mode 2, which is the exact same as land mode 1, except for you've got this annoying Medusa shooting stuff at you. And there we go. Second verse, same as the first, land mode goes down. And that is one of the most satisfying rooms in the game for Kappa. We're going to see the second set of most satisfying rooms in the game here. Kane of Samaria makes this strat look really, really cool, and it's not actually that difficult to pull off. Alright, so Ninban has their 7th crystal, and they're going to be headed up GT in just a moment here. Could actually save a bit of time should they choose to not go full right or just go full left off the bat, but regardless of what happens, this is still very much Kappa's race to lose. And with red mail, gold sword, and silvers, we are basically looking at pretty much a fully loaded arsenal. The only thing we could have that would help us out at any point at this rate would be either an invulnerability item and or half magic. Those are the only things that would really help us at all that we don't have. And I'm fairly certain that with 13 hearts and all of the aforementioned items, both of our runners are feeling really good about murdering the pig. Alright, so here comes everyone's favorite mathematics course, agonometry. We start off with a double, which is not bad at all. And some potential for a triple here. But nope, Aga gives us a blue ball. We still did get a double there, I'm fairly certain, and this is primed for another double. Yep, 2-2-2 is our set here, so not bad. Meanwhile, Ninban having fun with the mimics. Not exactly the most friendly room on the planet, but manages to get through. And we're about to have a piggy fight. Alrighty, so with Gold Sword, I'm not going to say this fight is trivial or even easy, but it's about as easy as it's going to get. We need 6 slashes for the first cycle, 6 slashes for the second, 1 slash for each jump here, and then with the silvers, we just need to plant 4 silvers into Ganon's face, and we are done. Meanwhile, Ninban headed through the gauntlet, so this is still going to be a reasonably close race here, should Ninban choose to finish after. As Ganon makes a cry of hysteria, noticing that we do indeed have the silvers. There's 1 double out of the way, room for another here, and there we go. Let's wait for Plasma Kappa to get their tail across this 1x3 bridge. It's going to pop up in a second, and then go ahead and flood chat with GG's. And there we go, Kappa finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 50 seconds, which is good enough for first place. Game 3 hype.
Congratulations to Kappa.
Alrighty, meanwhile, Ninban is continuing through. Don't know if we're going to see a finishing here, but only a couple rooms left in the tower. So that race was pretty good overall. The Canis of Mario was in a fairly trolly location, but outside of that, gave us pretty much everything we needed. It didn't withhold too much from us. So yeah, I think that seed was better than most are. Ninban, meanwhile, is down to 2 hearts here. And there's 1 and 2 hits for Moldorm. So we're going to go ahead and get that chest to pop up. And we're going to be on to our agonometry fight again. That's kind of an amusing caption there. Your uncle has a friend, referring to the fairy in a bottle that he gave us. Alright, Ninban starting off with a double there. And I think based upon the pause that we saw before the beginning of that second cycle, Ninban may have just seen the dot done by Kappa. Alrighty, 4 cycles there, but we still ended up taking them down. Ended with a triple, only needed 2 hits there, but third one just for luck. Alright, so this fight's gonna be fun. Ninban down to 1 heart. I do believe that they have a fairy in a bottle still. We're probably gonna play this one like 1-hit KO, as Ganon just tries to confuse us. If you manage to keep up with all of that, what does that make us, you ask? I'm fairly certain the correct answer is mortal enemies, is what it makes us and Ganon. Though I'm not certain that's because of the level of relationships that he had to go through. Woohoo! Just barely manages to dodge the fire bats there.
Oh.
Alright, whenever you're ready. Goodness gracious, the teleports would not cease. And Ninban was... Oh, that's nice. That's unfortunate. As we do see on Kappa's side, the magic saver sleeps again. So, had we had a blind pull ped, it would have been half magic.
Oh, that's not bad.
And Ninban electing that he's done with us. Alrighty, and with that, we do have a dot forfeit from Ninban. Alright, so I didn't notice before, but we are joined in the booth by Kappa, and Ninban looks like he is ready to hop up as well. So GG to both of you. That was a fun race.
Hello, yes, we had boost this time.
GG.
Hey, you guys also had the mirror in Super Bunny Cave again.
No, it wasn't Stompy.
That's right. What was on? There was something on Super Bunny Cave.
The flute.
The flute. There we go. Good call. Yesterday it was the mirror and the ice rod, I believe. My brain is dead.
Yes.
You're right.
At least it wasn't 2 items.
Yeah, only had 1 hiding there for you today. Alright. Alright, so I'm going off of the SRL here, but it does look like you guys submitted game 3. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, we submitted for 1:20 p.m. for a stream on Saturday.
Awesome. So, for anyone who
And
wants to know when that race is, it's going to be, 1:20 p.m. Eastern Time
Yes.
on Saturday. And then you guys decided not to make any changes again?
Yep,
Yeah. Don't need any changes.
this mode is perfect. We just need boost starts, but they don't offer it in the tournament.
Yeah, that would be really nice, actually, because it would cut out a lot of the really boring walking that we usually have to stay with for, at least 15 minutes if we're lucky, and if we're not lucky, more like 2 hours. Alright, so that one wasn't too bad. It gave you items a little more nicely than the last seed did in general. Did you guys have anything you wanted to specifically point out for this seed?
Not really. I think it was fine. Like you had a lot of stuff to do. Not even 5 minutes in the seed with the Dark World access, but it was fun until the Samaria hunt. What about you, Kappa?
Oh yes, well, I'm very happy that my very long walks out got me a bow out of the waterfall cave. It's like, okay, I could do this, the obvious play, or I could try and get a bow. Well, just try and get a bow, it's funnier.
Yeah, but that did end up working out for you, especially since the other bow was sitting on the torch in desert. So that ended up being a really nice play for you. You didn't have to double dip Eastern or have to worry about pod for that matter. Neither of you guys cleared it, but you ended up not having to worry about potentially having to go back in at any point.
I mean, I wanted to kill Hamasar so badly.
Yeah, especially since Halmasaur did have that one item, and that was actually something that that we were talking about as the search for the Cane of Samaria went on and on. We were kind of sitting here listing off stuff. I'm like, okay, well, if it's not in Ice Palace, then it could be Green Pendant. It could be on Pedestal. It could also be sitting on Helmasaur, and that item just kind of came back, and it was one of those, oh, that would be a really ugly location for it. There was also Powder that was sitting on the Lumberjack ledge. There was potential there, too, which would have been hilarious in a super unfortunate way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Forgot you needed the cane for that momentarily. I tried to do it right at the mushroom. Thankfully I didn't get too far.
I went all the way to the hammer peg with no magic. To fake powder.
It's okay, you had me going too. I was like, yeah, we're gonna get to see a fake pot. Wait, we're looking for the cane. And then, you and I basically made that realization at the same moment. Wait, I don't have the cane. I can't do this.
So yeah,
Oh.
good seed. It was
Yeah.
fun. I'll hop over on the French stream. They want me to. So see you Saturday, Kappa.
Yep. Good luck.
And Twitch viewers. Thanks. Good luck to you too.
Yep, we will see you around. I am definitely looking forward to Game 3. You guys probably looking forward to it a little bit less, since I know those are stressful. But either way, it is fun to watch, and you guys are two excellent runners of the game. So I'm looking forward to hopefully calming it. If not, I'll at least be watching it.
Yes, thank you.
Alrighty, so if that's it for you, Zelnus, did you have anything you wanted to add before we head out?
Nope.
Alrighty, cool. So for everyone in Twitch chat and from the SG family, I am Hammerbro, and with Zelnus, I wish you all a good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you are watching this, and may your seeds not be ped seeds. Night, everyone.